this is looking to be a very explosive fight. One day you definitely don't want to miss out on.
So what would the result be?
The prediction is will not last 12 rounds, I think.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely.
At a fiery first press conference for his upcoming bout, boxing legend Manny Pacquiao stunned fans and media with a chilling message for his opponent, Mario Barrios, the 8th Division world champion. Famed for his blistering speed and humble nature, shed his usual calm and unleashed a fierce warning. As cameras flash and tension crackle in the air, Pacquiao made it clear, this fight is deeply personal. His sharp words shattered any notion that he's a fading icon. If Barrios underestimated him, Pacquiao's intensity proved he's still a force to be reckoned with. The stage is set for war.
Okay, how's it going? All right, so for a long time we're talking about Manny Pacquiao coming back to us. For a long time we're talking about him fighting. Now it's real, it's happening. Him and Mario Barrios, break it down.
Yeah, Barrios is champion. So it's a good fight.
WBC champion.
Don't count Pacquiao. Everyone's counting Pacquiao out because of his age. So you're a bunch of haters, man. Still has tons of power, tons of speed, and a shitload of experience.
If Manny wins, would it shock you or no?
No.
Would it shock the whole world?
It would shock the world. He wins at his age. Yeah, I mean, it's not. Listen, he's 45, 46. 45, 46, but he's not. He's always active. He's always staying active. He's always doing something. Mostly playing basketball, some sort of sport, some cardio. So no.
When Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor, he said, "I'm not surprised." So Manny could say that after he beats Barrios, that he wasn't surprised that he's supposed to win.
Well, what they? DSP. I mean, different. This. I like this.
Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring after a 4-year hiatus has sparked major excitement, especially after his intense press conference targeting WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios. The 46-year-old legend, renowned for his speed and power, will face the 29-year-old Barrios on July 19, 2025, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas in a highly anticipated showdown.
It's a very contentious subject. People moaning about Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat most fighters in the top 20 at 147 pounds. He's clearly not the fighter that he once was. You're not going to be at that age. My problem is that he's been inactive for quite a long time. Like we were talking about fighting him with Conor Ben maybe 6 months ago or a year, and every month or 3 months or 6 months that passes, you do become a lot older. So, I guess there's two questions. One is, should he be fighting again? And at the end of the day, if he's good enough to beat everybody outside the top 20 in the world, then why not? But should he be fighting for the world title? I guess that's another question. In the commercial world of boxing, the answer is yeah, probably. In the ratings world and activity world, the answer is probably not.
Do you think it's strange that he's coming off the couch and getting into the fight like that?
I think when you've achieved what he's achieved, you've always got the right to do things a little bit different to others. And with all due respect, Barrios is not Boots, and Barrios is not Crawford. And that's why we pushed the Conor Ben fight. Conor Ben, his best win is against Algieri or Van Heerden. So actually, Pacquiao is a step up. People are still complaining at me for mentioning that fight, like Conor Ben is Boots. But he still hasn't had those wins yet.
Pacquiao has resumed training with longtime coach Freddie Roach, showing flashes of his former brilliance despite concerns about his age and time away from the sport. While training footage has impressed some, doubts linger among fans and experts about whether the 46-year-old can still compete at boxing's elite level after such a long hiatus. Recent footage from Los Angeles shows Manny Pacquiao speaking with calm determination, ready to face whatever lies ahead. He reflected on the responsibility of being a role model and the lessons learned from past defeats. Though serious, his tone remained optimistic. Physically, Pacquiao looked sharp, alert, fast on the pads, and moving with the intensity of a younger fighter chasing redemption. His preparation for the upcoming bout with Mario Barrios is visibly focused and fierce. However, the decision to sanction the fight has stirred controversy. Critics argue that Pacquiao's age and extended absence from the ring should disqualify him from a title opportunity. The WBC's decision to rank him fifth in the welterweight division has drawn skepticism, with many questioning both the fairness of the ranking and potential dangers involved in granting Pacquiao a high-stakes matchup after years away.
I'm hearing things here. Manny Pacquiao aiming for a short return to the ring, age 46, Josh.
Yeah, I read something about that, man. It's, that guy's my hero, you know, I named my dog after him and stuff like that, you know, stuff, but he's touching 50 years old. I think, you know, he should leave it where it is, you know, but, you know, obviously if you get a chance to share a ring with Manny Pacquiao, nobody's going to say no, you know.
Trainer Greg Hackett didn't hold back when commenting on Manny Pacquiao's surprise comeback against Mario Barrios. Speaking candidly, Hackett said that if this fight had happened years ago, Pacquiao would have easily overwhelmed Barrios, but times have changed. According to Hackett, today's Pacquiao is no longer the explosive, dominant force he once was. At 45, he lacks the speed, stamina, and sharp edge that defined his legendary career. Hackett characterized the bout as more of a money-making event than a true contest between elite fighters at their peak. In his view, it's a spectacle rather than a competitive clash, far from the high-stakes matchups that once made Pacquiao a global boxing icon.
But Pacquiao, not Pacquiao. It's tough to go against him in this situation because if it was some years ago, Pacquiao would beat Barrios. But right now, Barrios, with his momentum, might beat Pacquiao. I mean, not knock him out, but beat him with the cards, beat him behind that jab.
Similar to like Ugas, right?
Yeah. It's a good fight, but it's more of a good fight for Barrios. Pacquiao don't need it, but Pacquiao want to come back, and he want to come back with a bang, so why not? If he can make it happen, make it happen. Because I would love, if Barrios was my fighter, I would love to have a Pacquiao on the record. I would love something like that. And that's a fight you know you got to get ready for.
It's a fight that boxing fans will criticize you for.
Yeah.
But the reality is, Manny Pacquiao has a die-hard fan base that you're going to make money with that fight.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to see other fights at 47. You Stanionis, you Boobs, you Brian Norman.
Yeah, but he want to steal as much as he can steal. You know what I mean? Because again, this shit is not forever. Just like anything else, it's going to end. So you want to make some money and you want to do great things.
Intro 6. Former champion Tim Bradley voiced similar concerns, suggesting Pacquiao's return is driven more by financial motives than a pursuit of boxing glory. According to Bradley, when a fighter comes out of retirement, it often signals a need for a payday, while the WBC title is at stake. He believes the real focus is the purse. Bradley noted that Mario Barrios, younger and active, is being positioned as a fresh contender to push Pacquiao to his limits. He even suggested Barrios has a youth, momentum, and skill to potentially finish Pacquiao, raising serious questions about whether the legend should still be fighting.
Pacquiao, getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, you know, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. You know, it has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to do with money. One, two. I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, you know, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, you know, bigger fighter, knows how to, you know, control distance very well. Can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long, and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, you know, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits. You know, that Ugas fight, I don't know if it was enough for Pacquiao. That's why he's coming back. But Barrios, he can he can finish Pacquiao. There's a possibility that he can finish Pacquiao and basically cause him to go back into retirement once again. But again, what they say, the last thing that leaves is the power. If Manny got any of that power still left in him, if he lands that left hand, he can hurt the young gun. So, but that's easier said than done.
Intro 7. Oscar de la Hoya has voiced strong support for Manny Pacquiao's return, expressing confidence despite the fighter's age. While recognizing Pacquiao is now in his mid-40s, de la Hoya believes he still possesses a heart, determination, and technical skill to compete with younger fighters like Mario Barrios. He praised Pacquiao's legendary career and emphasized that experience, not age, should define expectations.
For the best.
Can he do it?
Can he do it? Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs.
He's a legend. You know,
some nice ones. Thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it.
Intro 8. Despite the skepticism, Mario Barrios remains calm and confident ahead of the fight. He expressed respect for Manny Pacquiao, but made it clear he's not intimidated. Barrios plans to rely on his youth, reach, and strategy to control the pace and apply pressure. For him, this isn't just a payday. It's the biggest opportunity of his career and a chance to add a legendary name like Pacquiao to his resume.
It showed that, you know, combination punchers, you know, that's how Pacquiao, was landing, his punches, combinations. And, it just showed you that, he is a great fighter, but I'm going into this camp, into this fight confident, everything right with our game plan. And I'm going to try to execute it as best.
Boxing analyst Teddy Atlas has expressed doubt about Mario Barrios' supposed size advantage in his upcoming fight with Manny Pacquiao. While Barrios is taller and has a longer reach, Atlas questions how much of an edge that truly gives him, noting Barrios only recently moved up to the welterweight division after previously fighting at lower weights. Barrios himself admitted that making the 140-pound limit had become increasingly difficult, prompting the transition. Despite his physical frame, Atlas argues that Barrios' size might not translate into a decisive advantage in the ring. This suggests the fight could be more evenly matched than some expect, with Pacquiao's experience potentially leveling the field. The announcement of Pacquiao's return has sent shockwaves through the boxing world, with many fans still coming to terms with the news, especially since he officially retired.
Not naturally as big a man as those other welterweights. So start there. That's a fair point. He moved up in weight, Barrios. So he's not a naturally big, natural welterweight. And of course we understand Pacquiao has moved up. My God, I don't even know when he first turned pro. You would have thought maybe he could have been a jockey.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
180 pounds, right?
Yeah, jockeys are about 105 pounds, I think, somewhere around that neighborhood. I mean, can you imagine him though going to the whip? He might have killed the horse. That's the only thing. Yeah, you would have had Petter. What is it called? Peter, whatever. Peter, you would have had Peter coming after you. Look what he did to this horse. But look, I love Pacquiao. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I put it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up? Incredible. Just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active, who I know you can't go by this guy beat this guy, but he could beat that guy, but he could beat this guy. But you can't go by that in my business, in this business, because styles make fights. But you're right. He beat Ugas. You could say Ugas was a little older than when he fought him a little bit. Then when Pacquiao fought him, maybe that made a difference, whatever. But he did take a lot of punishment, Pacquiao, with the Ugas fight.
WBC President Mauricio Suleiman confirmed that all necessary approvals were granted for Manny Pacquiao to compete for the welterweight title. However, speculation is growing that the fight against Mario Barrios is merely a stepping stone. Rumors suggest that if Pacquiao defeats Barrios, it could set the stage for a blockbuster showdown with Gervonta Tank Davis. Fans and analysts are questioning whether Barrios was chosen as a more favorable opponent to help Pacquiao regain momentum and reignite excitement. The prevailing belief is that this bout may not be the ultimate challenge, but rather a calculated move to build toward one final, high-stakes fight. A victory here could lead to a career-defining clash, possibly Pacquiao's last on boxing's biggest stage.
The WBC president Mauricio Suleiman has said Mario Barrios will face Manny Pacquiao this July. That's some crazy shit, bro. That's some crazy news. Manny Pacquiao is 46 years of age. He's making his return to the ring. And he said he wants to go out with a bang. He wants to finish his career as a champion. That's some crazy shit. Manny Pacquiao's professional record currently stands at 62 wins. 39 of those coming via knockout, 8 losses and 2 draws. Manny Pacquiao has one of the most impressive CVs in the sport of boxing. Just take a look at from 09, Ricky Hatton, all the way up until here. There's so many names: Timothy Bradley, Manuel Marquez, Shane Mosley, Joshua Clotley, Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather, Jesse Vargas. Like, there's so many names on this list. You know what I'm saying? Let's take a look at Mario Barrios' record. 29 wins, 18 of those coming via knockout, 2 losses and 1 draw on his resume. What do I make of this fight? I don't know, you know. I mean, listen, this is a young man's sport. I asked myself, Manny Pacquiao, why do you want to come back and fight a younger fighter? You know what I mean? Mario Barrios, who is the current champion, who's the WBC champion. Why? What have you got to prove? You've proven everything throughout your career. So I don't know what to say, but anyways, let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and watch a clip of the president of WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, talk about this.
As of now, Mario Barrios is the WBC champion, so who is he mandated to fight next? Do you have made that decision yet?
Well, at this time, Mario Barrios is going to fight Manny Pacquiao in July. He wants to retire as WBC champion, so he's fighting in the welterweight division.
Why does he come out of retirement and get a WBC title shot in his first fight?
Because it's something that WBC has respected. Sugar Ray Leonard was retired 4 years when he requested to fight Marvin Hagler and defeated Hagler. So we do have that provision in the rules. A legendary champion with the credentials such as Manny Pacquiao. He has been medically cleared, licensed by Nevada, so we have voted in favor to allow that fight to happen.
If Pacquiao defeats Barrios, a showdown with Gervonta Davis could become one of the most highly anticipated fights in recent history. 2 explosive southpaws, both with huge fan bases, facing off would capture global attention. Pacquiao's return carries a strong sense of nostalgia. He's chasing the same WBC title that launched his rise to international fame years ago. He won his first world championship at flyweight and now aims to end his career as the WBC welterweight champion. This full circle moment means more than just another belt. For Pacquiao, the fight is deeply personal. It's about legacy, but also about reconnecting with the beginning of his journey. His comeback is driven as much by emotion and reflection.
Dr. News told Onto Your Gloves boxing fans, the rumors are true. Manny Pacquiao is stepping back into the ring. At 46 years old, the Filipino legend is taking on WBC welterweight champ Mario Barrios this July. But here's the kicker. Pacquiao's first world title was as a flyweight, and now he wants to retire as the WBC welterweight champ. Talk about a career comeback, but can the Pac-Man turn back time? He hasn't been in top form lately, while Barrios is coming off a tough draw. Will Pacquiao's experience triumph over youth, or is this one fight too far? Either way, July is shaping up to be an explosive month for boxing. Pacquiao's rolling the dice one last time. Will he make history as the oldest welterweight champ ever? Get ready for a showdown that'll have you on the edge of your seat.
Fans and commentators are comparing Pacquiao to George Foreman, who famously won a world title at 46. A rare but not impossible feat, many believe Pacquiao's relentless energy and legendary status could help him achieve something similar. This fight has become a story about defying age and expectations, with both fighters challenging what's considered possible in boxing history.
So Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title is being targeted for late July in either San Antonio or Las Vegas on Amazon Prime. And Pacquiao is currently in a Senate campaign in the Philippines in May, but after that he wants to return in the summer for a world title and try to break his own record as the oldest welterweight champion at 46 years old. Now I have every issue in the world with this. Manny Pacquiao is my favorite fighter of all time, but this is just not great for boxing. Pacquiao's last fight was 4 years ago in 2021 against Jordanis Ugas, and in that fight he looked a lot slower, not as explosive, and he got outboxed. And then last year when he was targeting the Barrios fight, he had an exhibition against a kickboxer, Rukia Anko first, and he looked even slower and even more hittable in that fight. I don't think Pacquiao should be sanctioned to fight a world title fight at 46 years old, and not that Barrios is some scary knockout artist or a pound-for-pound level talent. If there's one champ at 147 that Pacquiao could upset, it would be Barrios. But in all likelihood, Barrios being the younger, bigger guy, he's just going to beat Manny for 12 rounds, probably stop him late. So I just don't want to see the fight. Pacquiao's accomplished everything in the sport. He really doesn't need another fight at 46.
Manny Pacquiao's comeback has sparked excitement and debate in boxing. At 46, he returns after a 4-year break, aiming to reclaim the title that launched his legendary career. This fight contrasts Pacquiao's experience with Barrios' youth, raising deeper questions about legacy, motivation, and how the sport continues to evolve with new generations.
A lot of people are asking what's going on. Are the rumors true? Is it possibly Spence? Is it Pacquiao? Who is Mario Barrios sharing the ring with next?
You know what? He's put himself in a great position through hard work. He's a tremendous story when he turned pro and what he's been able to accomplish being a 2-time world champion. And I always told everybody, he fights all comers. When we fought Gervonta Davis, all my hats off to Gervonta Davis. But it was very difficult for us to make the weight. We were going to move up in weight. They presented us, with this opportunity, and he said, you know what, I'll fight now for it one more time. And then from there, obviously we had a tough loss, but it was a competitive fight. And his first fight at 147 pounds, he goes on and takes on Keith Urban. No tune-ups, no getting used to the thing. Goes at that point is about as good as you can get in the division, and took on that. So he takes on all comers, all challenges. His first world title against Batirov, the Russian, is about as tough as you could have done at the time. And so I think he's earned the right now to be in the biggest, best possible fights. And now it's going to be up to Al Heyman and Louis DeCubas Jr. on what they see is best and fit for his career, whether that's Pacquiao, Spence, if that's a unification with Boots Ennis.
Do you think Pacquiao's confidence will lead to victory, or is Barrios ready to defend his title? Share your thoughts and join the conversation below.